If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option, as Sori says. 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at insori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is a community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go on the village, facebook.com/VillageXchange. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed! It's all to lead them!
To buy our merch!
Yes, dear listener! Yes, dear listener!
Billy Joel, we didn't start the fire. That sounds like my kids.
That sounds like us to Nero. Like, what are y'all doing? We didn't do nothing!
Yeah, that's true, the Christians. We didn't start the fires! Okay. Every time I think about how Nero, when he died, everybody was afraid he was going to rise from the dead. That's crazy. And that makes sense to me. It never used to make sense to me. I'm like, what is wrong with these people? Don't they understand death is death? But when you're tormented by an individual for so long, and he has such ruthless, power over you, the idea, that people are just kept, his fear continues. Also, I think the demonic powers behind him.
Timestamp this thing?
We did, the last one, yep.
All right, so this one's at
Billy
44.
Joel.
Just do 44 minutes flat.
Okay. Billy Joel, we didn't start the fire. DJ Director Nick says, we didn't start the fire.
Get it right. Go ahead. Steve Blandon in the house.
I
haven't seen Steve in quite some time. We got Overshadow Sean.
What's up, Steve?
Steve and BC. Love them. All right, go ahead. Continue.
We Didn't Start the Fire was released on September 18th, 1989 as the lead single off the Billy Joel's 11th studio album, Stormfront. This song and album both reached #1 on their respective Billboard charts in December of 1989.
Wow. We
Didn't Start the Fire is a list song containing 119 brief references to significant political, cultural, scientific, and sporting events between 1949, the year of Joel's birth, and 1989, in mainly chronological order.
All right, send me those lyrics. Do your best.
What do you mean, do my best?
I mean, there's a lot of lyrics here.
I got it. I got it all.
This guy Nick knows what I'm about.
There you go.
I love lyric-heavy songs. What's up, kids? Steve Blandon in this bitch. Nothing now. Now that you're here, we're legit complete for show. Just need the big homie DJ Mike to show. I sent Mike a text. I was like, yo, we in this. It's all good.
I don't know.
Imagine, people have other things to do than just hang out with us. I see how it is.
All right, you guys. So we're going to do this one. Again, like we said, the name of the song is We Didn't Start the Fire.
Didn't Start
And it's by Billy Joel.
And
again, this is all 80s
fact,
stuff.
This song was co-written with our very own Dwayne Chamberlain, 3.5.
Of course
he co-wrote this with Billy Joel, so that might come up in a, what do you call it at some point. Hey, we need to get to Rumble so we can start getting
lyric video has pics of all the references. Oh, okay.
All right, here we go. Song number 2 is Billy Joel, We Did Not Start the Fire. Let's do it.
Thanks.
Huh?
Harry Truman, Doris Day, Red China, Johnny Ray, South Pacific, Walter Winchell, Joe DiMaggio, Joe McCarthy, Richard Nixon, Studebaker, television, North Korea, South Korea, Marilyn Monroe. Rosenberg's H-bomb, Sugar Ray, Panmure, John Randall, the King and I, and the Catcher in the Rye. Vaccine, England's got a new queen, Marciano, Liberace, Santana, goodbye. We didn't start the fire.
Hey, that's familiar.
It was always burning since the world's been turning.
That's familiar.
We didn't start the fire.
Oh, you know this song?
Just the
We
chorus.
didn't light it, but we tried to fight it. Joseph Stalin, Alan Cobb, Nasser and Prokofiev, Rockefeller, Campanella, Communist Bloc. Roy Cohn, one for all, Toscanini, Dacron, Gen, Food Falls, rock around the clock. Einstein, James Dean, Brooklyn's got a winning team. Davy Crockett, Peter Pan, Elvis Presley, Disneyland, Bordeaux, Budapest, Alabama, Khrushchev, Princess Grace, Peyton Place, trouble in the Suez. We didn't start the fire. It was always burning since the world's been turning. We didn't start the fire. No, we didn't light it, but we tried to fight it. Little Rock, Pasternak, Mickey Mantle, Kerouac, Sputnik, Joe and I, Bridge on the River Kwai, Lebanon, Charles de Gaulle, California, baseball, Starkweather, homicide, children of the Little Mile.
Damn.
Buddy Holly, Ben Hur, Space Monkey, Mafia, Hula Hoops, Castro, Edsel a no-go. U2, Simon Reed, Paola and Kennedy, Chubby Checker, Psycho, Belgians and the Congo. We didn't start the fire. It was always burning since the world's been turning. We didn't start the fire. No, we didn't light it, but we tried to fight it. Hemingway, Eichmann, Stranger in a Strange Land, Dylan, Berlin, Bay of Pigs invasion, Lawrence of Arabia, British Beatlemania, Ole Miss, John Glenn, Liston B, Pope Paul, Malcolm X, JFK, blown away. What else do I have to say? We didn't start the fire.
Damn.
It was always burning since the world's been turning. We didn't start the fire.
I ain't starting the fire, bro.
Didn't light it, but we tried to fight it. But control, Ho Chi Minh, Richard Nixon, back again, moonshot, Woodstock, Watergate, punk rock, Bacon, Reagan, Palestine, terror on the airline, Ayatollahs in Iran, Russians in Afghanistan, Wheel of Fortune, Sally Ride, heavy metal, suicide, foreign debts, homeless vets, AIDS, crack, Bernie gets, hypodermics on the shore, China's under martial law, rock and roll, cola wars, I can't take it anymore.
Boom, boom.
We didn't start the fire. It was always burning since the world's been turning. We didn't start the fire, but when we are gone, will it still burn on and on and on and on and on and on and on? We didn't start the fire. It was always burning since the world's been turning. We didn't start the fire. No, we didn't light it, but we tried to fight it. We didn't start the fire. It was always burning since the world's been turning. We didn't start the fire. No, we didn't light it, but we tried to fight it. We didn't start the fire. It was always burning since the world's been turning. We didn't start the fire.
This is interesting.
Those songs are kind of similar. When you do this rap of stream of consciousness,
Oh,
and
yeah.
you go into the catchy chorus.
Yeah. Yeah, I
I wonder
like
if that was a formula back in the day.
Maybe.
I'm sure the
yeah.
record companies would have turned it into that
Mm-hmm.
once they saw the Police's success.
I think if you had
So you knew this song.
just the chorus. Well, no, I did know that there was talking in between, though, but I didn't, it must have been one of the songs that I heard. I have no idea. But I did know that chorus.
the police looking above and saying, "We did not start the fire." Gonna
Yeah.
go police right there. The overlord's watching everybody.
This would be really cool if you used this song in a history class
Talking about the fires.
Well,
Nero.
no, not just that, but just like if you were with homeschooling, you can be more like, I don't know, exciting about your teaching.
Yeah.
So if you started with this song and you said, by the end of this year, you're going to know what every single one of these things is.
Uh-huh.
And then you just tell it like a story. Like there's a lot of these things that I don't know. Doris Day.
Doris Day.
Yeah.
She's a celebrity.
Okay, so like
I think.
Harry Truman, like if you had, you know how like there's like a boring way of transferring information.
Oh,
and
yeah.
there's an exciting story form.
Yeah, my teachers did that on purpose. They purposely made
It boring.
it
They hated their jobs.
They'd
They
be like,
hated their
life
religion.
isn't about fun. I was
Yeah.
like, shit, well, what's it about then, lady? Damn.
Learning and suffering and
Yeah.
trudging through.
We used to have conversations about that in
That's
homeschool.
literally what I was thinking.
Remember?
That's why I went.
Remember? I'm like, yeah, but that's not fun. And you'd be like, school is
I'm
not
like, yeah,
supposed
but
to be fun.
people have to learn.
They have to learn. I said, they're learning. She's like, yeah, but they're all laughing and enjoying
Yeah.
themselves while they're learning.
I've come a long way. So it would, because there's a lot of them that I'm like, I wonder what that is. I wonder what that is. Which ones stuck out to you? Catcher in the Rye obviously did.
Yeah, Catcher in the Rye. That was pretty crazy because my daughter's reading Catcher in the Rye right now.
Mm-hmm.
Which to me is like probably one of the best books of all time.
Is it like crazy to have your kid reading it?
Yeah, it's interesting. I was younger than Zoe when I read it. That's I finished that book in a night.
A night?
Just one night. I just kept reading. It was just such a fast because I related so much to this kid. Shout out to the big homie Holden in this bitch.
Yeah.
Okay. North Korea, South Korea, Marilyn Monroe, Rosenberg, H-Bomb, Sugar Ray, Panmunjom. I don't know what that is. Brando, The King and I, The Catcher in the Rye. Okay, so that's Marlon Brando, right? Like he's known as like one of the greatest actors of all time.
Marlon Brando?
Yeah.
Is? Okay,
Yeah.
why?
I mean, that's just what people say. I mean, I don't know. You know what I'm
you've
saying?
never seen any of his stuff.
No, we've seen his stuff, like the Godfather.
Oh.
Like the main boss. That was Marlon Brando, I think. I'm not sure. Okay. So we didn't start the fire.
Yeah, why is he saying we didn't start the fire? What's that supposed to mean?
Well, it's all the chaos that's happening in the world. Joseph Stalin, Einstein, James Dean, Brooklyn's got a winning team. There's all these things that are going on at the same time. You've got really significant things happening like in North and South Korea. And then you have other things happening in the same sort of time set that is not as significant as that. Because now you're talking about rock stars and all this other stuff. You're talking about Joseph Stalin, and then you go down to James Dean. You see what I'm saying? James Dean was just an actor.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no disrespect to him. Rebel Without a Cause, I think, was what he was famous for, and then he died in a car accident on set or something like that. So James Dean had kind of like this...
His name is familiar to me, too.
Yeah, like, he's kind of like the template for just a badass. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, the leather jacket and all that. I'm pretty sure
I don't know what I saw him in or whatever, but he's familiar.
Yeah. So, like, you have these significant cultural moments, right? And then you also have things like James Dean and all the rest of it. And
yeah,
the
it was like a lot of things.
So it's interesting because it's like all these like fun entertainment things are being juxtaposed to real world problems,
Mm-hmm.
North Korea, South Korea,
Mm-hmm.
that type of thing. And that
It's
was
almost like the human nature sort of compilation.
Yeah, I forgot who it was. I don't know if it was Pliny or whatever, but he talked about bread and circuses. In other words, like all this crazy shit is happening all through the Roman Empire. The empire is clearly like deteriorating. They're losing control. You had the year of the four emperors with Galba in them. That's mentioned in Revelation. So you had a lot of these situations going on, and there was unrest, and so the solution was bread and circuses. That's why in the French Revolution, they're like, "Yo, we're out of bread," and she says, "Let them eat cake." Like she didn't understand that. Look, if you're out of bread, You got to come up with a circus real quick and get these people some bread, bro. Because so the whole bread and circuses thing was a very important paradigm, and I think it kept Rome around, cohered probably about 10 to 15 years longer than it should if they didn't have that. So that's what it seemed like to me, was you have all these conflicting things, and then in the midst of it, you don't have any real solutions. You just have distractions.
Oh.
Right? North, South Korea, all these things are happening that are
Monroe.
above everybody's pay grade, and then, oh, look, Marilyn Monroe. See what I'm saying? And I don't know if that's like a government conspiracy or just a human instinct for survival. Mm-hmm. When you're dealing with a really serious issue, like, it's not time to joke around and play around. But at the same time, you got to have spaces where you can joke around and play around. Like, that's one of the problems with our generation. Like, we don't know how to exist in both simultaneously. Mm-hmm. And if you really push me to it, it's because having a Trinitarian understanding of ultimate reality puts you in a situation where you always see some form of unity in diversity at some point, because you're Trinitarian. Mm-hmm. And so when I look at the banality of, like, a TV actor, blah, 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 versus the real world consequences of war, you can look at that and go, oh, that's a trivialization. I love you fuckers, but you're streaming the same night that CGI and I think that's supposed to be AC/DC. I don't know. So you're really testing me. Shout out to Ranger. Yeah,
that's all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
what does it do to Jill?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you gotta. It looks to me like they're trying to balance all this stuff out. Like they're trying to find a way to do it, and it looks, Marilyn Monroe juxtaposed with, like, a starvation problem looks on the surface to be very shallow, but at the same time, the human mind craves survival. It craves novelty. Mm-hmm. The left side of your brain is craving order and predictability. The right side of your brain is supposedly responsible for your creativity and all the rest of it. And
the right is creativity? I thought the left was.
Yeah. Huh. It's counterintuitive because the way that we do right and left out in the world.
Yeah.
But a right brain person is more feelings creative oriented. A left brain person is more logical, that type of thing.
I literally thought it was the opposite.
And so this song, if you really think about this song, it's just like a separation of those hemispheres and how they relate to one another in our experience reality. And, like, I don't think the bread and circuses thing is all bad. Okay, so bread represents the lowest standard of life. You know what I'm saying? It's not a filet mignon, whatever.
Yeah.
And then the circuses that gives the right side of the brain a massage, right? So the left side of the brain is taken care of with the bread. Mm-hmm. You can predict when you're going to have the bread. That's some sort of order. And then the right side of the brain is craving novelty and all the rest of it. And so there you have the circus.
Yeah.
And so I don't think that's necessarily bad. There are times, for example, where if you're in the doctor's office and they're about to give you a shot or whatever, they'll tell you something to divert your attention and then give you the shot. And so on the one hand, you can look at it and say, oh man, all the shit on TV is just so banal and all the rest of it. You can look at it that way, or you can look at it as, we're in a 24-hour news cycle. And we have about 3 or 4 corporations that are vying for all that attention. So what do you think they're going to do if you're on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, but there are also 2 or 3 other competitors who have the capacity to do the same thing? Mm-hmm. What are you going to do? Well, there's a couple things you can do. One is you can take a story that's like a 6 on the Richter scale and exaggerate it to where it's a 9 on the Richter scale. So now everybody's reporting on the same thing, obviously, in those 3, corporations, but one of them
has more details,
has more sauce, right? Has more details, right? Yeah. And so that's kind of what's been going on with us in our media. Like the bread and circuses, but the circus is the media at this point. And I'm not sure how bad that is necessarily. Like, I don't think that focusing only on the problems in the world are going to solve the problems of the world. And I also don't think that partying your life away in the midst of an obvious crisis that we're all under is wise either.
Mm-hmm.
But at some point, a lot of life is about balance, and a lot of wisdom is about knowing when those elements need to be counterbalanced. You know, that's the big thing. Like, 9/11 was a horrible day. But the thing that really solidified me and a lot of the people I knew was just, you turn on Fox News, you would see the two planes going into the building, you would then see the Muslims celebrating, and then the next thing you see is a bunch of Green Berets coming out of a, you know what I'm saying? And they're going off and doing their thing. Hey, long live Brazil, long live Brazil. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and so I don't have a lot of criticisms for the bread and circus thing. A lot of it is depending on what the people at the top are trying to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like that's what the song meant to me. And then it's like, we didn't start the fire, it was always burning. Is that what he said?
We didn't light it, but we tried to fight it.
Where's that chorus though? We all right, yeah, just, we didn't start the fire. No, we didn't light it, but we tried to fight it.
Right here. This is probably what you're going for right there. It's always been.
Okay, so he starts off, we didn't start the fire. It was always burning since the world's been turning. We didn't start the fire. No, we didn't light it, but we tried to fight it. See, that's a logical breakdown though. We didn't start the fire. It was always burning since the world's been turning. That's not true. Especially from a naturalistic perspective, there are millions and millions of years before we even showed up on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
So, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
no,
what then? The
I
fire
don't know
wasn't.
What's going on here?
The fire wasn't always burning. Unless you're talking about human nature, which is to say that we're a lecherous group of people. We want what we want. Even if there's more than enough for everybody, we want what we want. I think a lot of this is dealing with, like, the effects of human sinfulness, because again, this was written probably in the 80s, and the 24-hour news cycle thing probably was not as popular. We don't really have a frame of reference for it, but it is a way of saying, hey, everything's messed up, but I didn't have anything to do with it. We didn't start the fire.
Mm-hmm. But we tried to fight it. I mean, we were the good guys.
Yeah, but how are we actually fighting it though? Because we're doing the same things that previous generations are doing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, like, what are we talking about? Of course we started the fire, and of course we contribute to it.
We've fed the fire. Yeah, really.
Right? That's the other thing. It's like, okay, you didn't start the fire, but did you show up with a fire extinguisher? Did you show up with a vial of oil?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? To spread it. There's a lot of things that human beings will do to avoid the very real fact that they're sinners. And that was one of the biggest things that surprised me about the metal community. Because I remember listening to songs like, am I evil? Yes, I am. You know, walking around saying all type of devil shit and blah, blah, blah. And then when you go, okay, like, we're all sinners, they're like, hey, wait a second.
Yeah.
What? I thought we were, you know what I'm saying?
Honestly,
so that was fascinating to me. I was like, damn.
Honestly, when you come to the conclusion that we're all sinners, it's actually like a really relieving thought, because it's like, sometimes you're like, oh man, why did I do that? Like, in my heart, like, I wouldn't want to be that bad of a person, but then I still went and did that thing. And then, I don't know, like, you feel like two people almost. But then when you have the understanding that you have a sin nature, and that there's also a part of you that is godlike because you're made in the image and likeness of God, and that it's almost like these two sides of yourself are fighting for dominance within you. And then when you realize, you know what, I have a sin nature, then you, I don't know, there's like I was reading Psalm 51 today. It's such a great I cannot believe, the Bible has the best writings of all time. I firmly believe it. Like, even if you take it, like, I took it and I put it in ChatGPT and I was like, put this in a modern way, which I didn't necessarily like the modern way, but it makes you think about something from like another angle.
Yeah.
But it's just unbelievable when you think like it doesn't matter like how horrible, how bad you are. Like the happiest people I've seen in my life were people that had just risen from the waters of baptism. Like that was the happiest.
Yeah.
And the biggest contrast of what they looked like before and what they looked like after. And I will never forget when we were standing around that fire and like this man must have been 65 years old. And he was like, he had like this beaming smile on his face. And he said, I feel so clean. And he was so happy. And I'm like seeing that on his, like you couldn't fake that look on his face. Like this guy was living on the streets. He'd been through a very difficult life, lost his job. He's a firefighter. The floors collapsed in on him. He broke his back. His wife died of cancer. Like he had a very hard life. And then he's in this situation. Like he recognizes that he's a sinner. And then he wants Jesus to help him. Yeah, I was trying to figure out what the blur is. And
figuring it's this because it's suppressing that light.
And it was just like the difference I've never seen anything like this in my life. It was like he was a different person.
Yeah.
What he looked like before and what he looked like around that fire when he was just saying, I just feel so clean. And the way he laughed when he said it, like, I'm telling you, I don't know. Shout out to Jesus.
Yeah, I do. I do remember that dude and his daughters. Oh man.
Nelson, everybody's a sinner. That's the thing. All of us do things to hurt other people, to disrespect God, to hurt ourselves, to destroy the planet. Like all of us do these things. There's not a single one of us that hasn't. So like a lot of times we spend our time like looking away from our sin. And that's why it said in Psalm, 51 that God desires truth in the inward parts. That means that he wants us inwardly to recognize who we are and stop hiding from it and stop pretending that we're something else. Stop pretending that we're better than we actually are, but to say, you know what? I'm a shitty person and I've done shitty things. And then I need Jesus to help wash me. And that's when he says he promises he's going to give us a new heart that's going to follow after him. It's just, I don't know, like Christianity, it's one of the most beautiful things in the world when you like stop and like actually look at what human beings are and look at the hope that comes from it. It's just incredible.
Yeah, that is true though. Like when they come out of the water, that did look like the highlight.
It was unbelievable.
I remember we did S. We did Shannon.
Yeah.
I did that one, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, because I had been working with.
Yeah.
I'd been working with Shorty for a decade.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's a pretty crazy thing to be able to do that. But yeah, you're right. But like the song is crazy because you've got Khrushchev. Khrushchev was the one that went on the floor of the United Nations and said that they were gonna bury us, Americans. And then that's juxtaposed with Peyton Place, which is this basically soap opera series of books. And Peyton Place, it was a pretty famous book. And my mom read it. Then my older brother read it. So then I picked it up and started reading it. I was like, this shit's corny as hell, bro. There were a couple scenes where people were getting a little frisky and shit like that. I was like, man, that shit's trash. Because I was into baseball at the time. I didn't care about none of that shit. So I just kept skipping it or whatever. I'm like, man, this is trash. I don't know what y'all doing. So it's just crazy to have Khrushchev juxtaposed with Peyton Place. It's crazy. That's a society we're in right now, though. That you could watch something really significant about the world, and then the next thing you could look at, people cutting soap. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
People cutting soap. I actually love those videos. All right.
When you're in heaven, I suppose it's easier to be kind because there's nothing to be mad about, unlike down here. Yeah, I agree with that. Okay. Steve says, we're doomed to eliminate ourselves. Humanity sucks as a whole. Just saying, look to Christ for the light at the end of the game. Yeah, Steve, we were just watching this. I've talked about this before, where UFO or UAP activity increased exponentially post the Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And
really?
Yeah. exploded. I mean, if you think about it, with Roswell was 48.
Wow.
So yeah, a lot of things happened in 1948. The reestablishment of Israel, the UFO shit, all that shit happened like in that year. It's a pretty crazy year.
Nelson said he saw some.
He saw UFO. I mean, you guys know I don't doubt it. But what was interesting is, and this is recorded. I've made references a million times. You have people that worked top secret clearance in nuclear facilities testify that they saw large, about 100-foot diameter orange and red orbs above their nuclear sites.
Mm-hmm.
That
he saw 3 orbs. He said
that completely
shut
down.
Yeah.
They're completely disarmed them. Right? On the other side of the world, the Russians were reporting the same thing. The only difference with the Russians was they armed the missiles and pointed them at America. So I repeat, non-human agents are showing up above nuclear sites in America. This is documented. Shutting down our capacity to send them rockets and enabling their capacity to send them to us. The Russians had to call us and say, look, you guys might pick this up. This has nothing to do with us, blah, blah, blah. We're exchanging notes. So
That's crazy, bro.
So, like, there's a lot of really crazy shit happening in the world right now, and I love it. And, you know, that definitely satisfies the right side of my brain relative to
novelty,
UFOs and novelty and all the rest of it. We've been invaded by aliens since 1492. Oh boy. What do you give this song?
9.3.
9.3. Rumbillions.
What'd
Where are
give
you
it?
at? I'm going to give this one I got to give this one a 9.5.
Slade Runaway is up next. We'll be right back.
Yeah. I gotta say, it's so strange to me. In 2017, the USA government admitted UFOs were real, and it barely broke the news like nobody cared for some reason. Correct. It's so weird to me. I'm like, what are y'all doing? Mm-hmm. We had dudes on the Senate floor talking about non-human biologicals recovered from crashes. Mm-hmm. Like on the floor of the U.S. Senate, under oath, under pain of perjury, all the rest of it. What are we talking about here? Like, who cares about the fucking whatever? Like, what did they say in 2017? It was off-world craft that are none of this, did not originate on Earth or something like that. You know? And we're just like, you know, whatever. Do you think we'll ever uncover the truth about UFOs? Mm-hmm. I think we've already uncovered the truth about UFOs, and that's why our government is covering it up. That's what I think. Yeah, Gnostic Meek, but not sworn in, especially when the government presumably would have motivation to lock you up forever. I don't know. Really interesting stuff. All right, 9.3. What did you give it?
9.4. No, I gave it a 9.3.
Russell says, I saw a UAP last night when walking the cats. It had green blinking lights, but this thing was going fast. Like fast, zipping around the sky.
Did it make any sound?
Yeah, that's the craziest thing to me about them things, man. We should have a night where people share their
alien stories,
UAP stories.
Yeah.
All right, guys, the night has just begun. You can thank DJ Nick for that. We got way more songs coming for you beautiful people and more crazy, what do you call it? Stories.
Theology.
There's only 7 people in Rumble right now, so if you're a Rumbillion, you should be able to stack up that stuff immediately. We will see you beautiful people on the other side of the break.
Don't forget, get the likes up on Rumble so we can run a contest.
Then out.
Sori out.
Gone.